Welcome to Doing Stuff with Darren. I'm Darren. Let's do stuff. Today, we're going to be making pulled pork, but there's a twist. We're going to do this in the oven rather than in a smoker. I smoke a lot of meat. That's one of the reasons I started this channel, and I've built a lot of smokers. But I know that most people don't have a smoker, but most people do have an oven. So I developed a recipe that will allow you to make pulled pork in your oven that is indistinguishable from that made in an actual smoker. I know it's hard to believe, but watch until the end and you'll see that I'm telling the truth. Why did I pick pulled pork for this? Because pulled pork is just about the easiest barbecue dish you can make. It's minimal effort and maximum results. It'll be a huge hit with your family and friends. Let's get started. First, we're going to preheat the oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's the pork butt we're going to use. I got it from Costco. It's a boneless pork butt, also called a Boston butt or a pork shoulder. They sell them at Costco in 2-packs. Note that this is not actually the butt of a pig, that's a ham. This is a pig's front shoulder, it's just called a butt. Let's make our rub. We'll mix it all in this bowl. We have 1/3 of a cup of salt. Then we use 2/3 of a cup of pepper. This recipe is pretty peppery. I like that, but it may be too much for some people. If you want, you could use half a cup of pepper instead, and that would also work just fine. Next, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Then 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Now here's the first trick. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of cure number 1. This is sodium nitrite. Why are we adding this? Well, the sodium nitrite will convert into nitric oxide, which will combine with the myoglobin in the meat to make what we see as a smoke ring. So we're going to make a chemically induced smoke ring. This pork butt is going to look like it came out of a smoker, even though we did it in the oven. You don't want to use too much of this stuff. The maximum is 1 teaspoon for every 5 pounds. This pork butt is about 7.5 pounds, so 1 teaspoon is well within the safe amount. Here's trick number 2. This is AC Legs smoke flavor. This is what's going to make our pulled pork taste like it came out of a smoker. To get the right flavor with this, you need to use 0.5% by weight. Our pork butt was 3.3 kilograms, so 1% would be 33 grams, so half of a percent is half of that, or 16.5 grams. We'll measure this out on a scale so we use the right amount. So this rub is going to make our pork butt look and taste like it came out of a smoker rather than an oven. Now let's rub the meat. I do this over the baking sheet I'm going to cook it on. You want to cake all of this rub onto this pork butt. You want to get it in every nook and cranny. You don't want to have any left over. This is going to seem like a lot of rub. You're going to think it's too much when you're putting it on. That's another trick to doing pulled pork. You have to use way more rub than you think. This is for 2 reasons. First, pork by itself is pretty bland. You really need to spice it up. Second, a pork butt is a thick chunk of meat. It's not long and flat like a brisket. It's basically a sphere. So it has a lot of meat for not much surface area. That's why you have to cake the surface with rub. You're trying to spice up a lot of meat without much surface to work with. Now we're going to put it on a cooking rack. I have it fat side down. Not sure that matters, but that's what I'm doing because I want to try to get the bark on the meat side. Then we put it in the oven, we stick a thermometer probe in it, and we wait 5 hours. Okay, it's been 5 hours. The meat is currently at 153. The temperature doesn't really matter as long as it's below about 170. If yours is cooking faster than this, I'd recommend wrapping it when it hits 165. Otherwise, just wrap it at 5 hours. Okay, so we take it out of the oven, now we're going to wrap it in aluminum foil. There's really 2 different things you can wrap meat with when you're doing barbecue, butcher paper or aluminum foil. You use butcher paper when you want to keep your meat moist, but you also want to bark on it when you're done. Use aluminum foil when you care less about the bark, but want to keep it as juicy as possible. For pulled pork, I use aluminum foil because I want to save all the juices that come off of the pork butt. So I wrap it tight with foil and put it back in the oven until it hits 203. It's been almost another 5 hours and the meat is at 203. So this cook took just about 10 hours total. When I unwrap this pork butt, I do it over a bowl because I want to save all the juices that come out. Once I've drained it, then I drop the meat into a dish where I can pull it apart. Now pay attention when I start pulling this apart. You'll see a nice red layer on the surface that looks just like a smoke ring. That's entirely from the cure number 1 we added to the rub. It makes it look like it just came out of a smoker. So when this is all mixed up, you're going to have some white meat and some red meat and some crust. This is real deal barbecue that we've made in an oven. Some people like their pulled pork chunky. I like mine pretty well shredded, so I pull this pretty good. Once it's shredded to my liking, then I start adding back the juices I saved earlier until it has the right moisture content. Pulled pork dries out pretty fast, so you want to make sure it's moist enough, or even just slightly wetter than you think. Doesn't this look amazing? You'd never know it wasn't cooked in a smoker. You can serve it however you'd like. I like it on a bun with some onion and coleslaw, but that's just personal preference. My wife likes it with barbecue sauce and pickles. There's really no wrong way to have it. Alright, well that's all I've got. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I hope that I convinced you that you don't need a smoker to make great barbecue. Give this a try. I'm sure you'll like it. Do me a favor and hit those like and subscribe buttons so I can grow this channel. Thanks. I hope you have a great rest of your day.